There are people in this world who will never raise their voice, never throw a punch, never openly betray you, and yet they can quietly sabotage your soul. They slip beneath your awareness. They wear masks, charming, helpful, familiar, but underneath they carry something far more dangerous than hostility: psychic poison. Carl Jung, one of the deepest thinkers in modern psychology, didn't just study the mind. He mapped the unconscious, and what he discovered was chilling. Some people live not as whole individuals, but as projections of their own inner chaos. And if you're not careful, they will pull you into it. Today, we expose 5 dangerous psychological types Jung warned us about, patterns of behavior so toxic, so insidious, they can erode your mental health without you ever realizing it until it's too late. These aren't just difficult people. These are archetypes of dysfunction, people who operate from the shadows of their own psyche and drag others in with them. So ask yourself, who are you really surrounding yourself with? Because the wrong people don't just hurt you, they change you. And before we begin, if you're on a journey to understand yourself deeper, break toxic patterns, and protect your inner peace, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and share your story in the comments. We're building a community of self-aware minds, one insight at a time. 1. The Shadow Projector. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Carl Jung, in the unseen depths of the human psyche lies what Jung called the shadow. It is not evil. It is not wrong. It is simply the part of ourselves we refuse to face, the fears we repress, the shame we bury, the instincts we deny. And for some people, that shadow grows so large, so unbearable, that they can no longer carry it alone. So they throw it outward, not consciously, not maliciously, but unconsciously, automatically. These are the shadow projectors. They walk through the world with a war raging inside them, and instead of fighting that war inwardly, they recruit others to play out their internal conflict. They accuse you of being arrogant because they hate their own hunger for validation. They say you're cold, emotionally unavailable, when it's they who are numb and disconnected. They label you the problem because facing their own reflection is too terrifying. According to Jung, projection is one of the commonest psychic phenomena, and perhaps the most dangerous. Because if you're not aware of it, you will absorb it. You begin to doubt yourself. You wonder, am I really like that? You start carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. You shrink to make others feel comfortable. And over time, you forget who you really are. That's the silent damage of the shadow projector. They don't just judge you, they slowly redefine you in their image of dysfunction. This is psychological gaslighting of the soul, not always intentional, but deeply corrosive. So how do you protect yourself? With conscious awareness. You must develop what Jung called shadow work, the ability to see through the mask of projection. When someone hurls blame at you that feels misaligned, pause. Ask, does this truly belong to me? Or is this a reflection of their own disowned self? Refuse to carry what isn't yours. Refuse to wear labels handed to you by people who haven't faced themselves. Because the only thing more dangerous than someone projecting their shadow is someone who doesn't even know they have one. 2. The persona obsessed. Every calling is great when greatly pursued. Carl Jung, in every society, we wear masks, not out of deception, but necessity. Jung called it the persona, the social face we show to the world. It allows us to function, to relate, to belong. But there is a silent danger. When we no longer wear the mask, but become it, when we confuse the role with the soul, we lose ourselves. The persona-obsessed person lives for one thing: appearance. They are not grounded in truth, but in performance. To the outside world, they seem perfect, polished, successful, popular. But look closely, and you'll see something haunting. Behind the persona lies a hollow self, a stranger in their own skin. They have spent so long curating how others see them, that they've forgotten how to see themselves. Jung warned that over-identification with the persona creates a fragile ego, one that becomes easily threatened, defensive, and even manipulative when its image is questioned. These individuals are not dangerous because they're malicious. They're dangerous because they are disconnected from themselves, and disconnection is contagious. Spend enough time around them, and you begin to doubt your own authenticity. You feel like you're not enough unless you too are polished, admired, and always on. Conversations feel scripted. Emotions are filtered. Truth becomes uncomfortable. You're no longer engaging with a human being, you're reacting to a carefully constructed illusion. And in that illusion, vulnerability dies. Here's what Jung wanted us to understand. The persona is a tool, not an identity. A mask is only healthy when you know it's a mask. But when you forget, when you start believing you are the role, you trade your soul for social approval. So what can you do? Seek depth. Surround yourself with people who are willing to be raw, unscripted, imperfect. People who don't fear being seen for who they truly are. And above all, be that person for yourself. Your worth is not in how you look, how you're perceived, or how many applaud your act. Your worth is in how deeply you know yourself, and how bravely you live without the mask. 3. The energy vampire. Where your fear is, there is your task. Carl Jung. But what happens when someone hands their task to you? What happens when a person, unable or unwilling to face their own inner world, drains yours instead? This is the energy vampire. They don't always appear threatening. In fact, they often seem fragile, overwhelmed, chronically wounded. Their pain is real, but so is the effect they have on you. After spending time with them, you don't feel connected. You feel exhausted. You walk away with a fog in your mind, a tension in your body, a heaviness in your chest. Why? Because they're not just talking. They're feeding. They survive on emotional attention, on your reactions, your sympathy, your energetic presence. They offload their chaos into your nervous system. And while they may not do it intentionally, the result is the same. You become their emotional battery. At first, it feels like compassion. You want to help. You think, maybe they just need someone to care. But days turn into weeks into months, and still, they don't grow. They don't change. Because they've never intended to. In Jungian terms, these individuals often suffer from a fractured psyche, a disconnect between the conscious self and the unconscious emotional body. They have not integrated their anima or animus, the inner feminine or masculine aspects that offer emotional balance and inner strength. Instead of doing the inner work, they reach for you. They find in you something they've lost in themselves: stability, presence, containment. And once they sense it, they attach. But the truth is devastating. They are not looking to heal. They are looking to survive. And to do so, they unknowingly drain you, your time, your focus, your peace. The great danger? You begin to feel responsible for their life. You confuse exhaustion with empathy. You lose the ability to tell where you end and they begin. This is spiritual erosion, death by emotional overexposure. Here's the truth Jung would have you remember. Compassion does not mean self-sacrifice. Love is not enabling. And healing is never something you can do for someone else. Boundaries are not cruel. They are clarity. They are the invisible lines that protect your energy from being consumed by someone else's unconscious chaos. You can care without rescuing. You can listen without absorbing. You can love without losing yourself. The task is theirs, not yours. Let them face their shadow and reclaim your light. 4. The manipulative narcissist. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. Carl Jung. Narcissism, in Jungian psychology, is not confidence. It is not a strength. It is a mask, a fortress built around a wounded child. At the center of the manipulative narcissist is not power but profound fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of insignificance. Fear of the shadow they refuse to face. So what do? They construct a persona, a dazzling, magnetic image, designed to captivate and control. At first, it worked. They're charming, articulate, the center of attention. You might even feel lucky to be chosen by them. But soon, the mask slips, and beneath the charm lies something far more dangerous, a psyche that cannot tolerate not being in control. The manipulative narcissist is a master of emotional chess. Every compliment is calculated. Every silence is strategic. Every smile hides a blade. They'll praise you when it serves them. They'll flatter you when you submit. But question them and the warmth turns ice cold. They withhold affection. They weaponized guilt. They twist your words until you begin to question your reality. And all of it, every manipulation, every tactic, is rooted in fear. The fear of facing their own brokenness. Jung taught that when the ego becomes inflated, when it sees itself as the center of all things, it blocks the path to the self. The self, in Jungian terms, is the deeper, integrated wholeness of a person. But narcissists never reach it because they never look inward. They build upward until the tower collapses. And if you stay too close when it does, you get buried in the rubble. Being in a relationship with a narcissist, whether romantic, familial, or professional, can be a slow unraveling of your soul. You stop expressing your needs, because their needs take all the air. You silence your truth, because truth becomes a threat. You lose yourself, piece by piece, until you can't remember who you were before them. This is not love. It is psychic possession, your emotional life hijacked by another's ego. So how do you protect yourself? With radical clarity. Name the pattern. See it for what it is. Not confidence, not charisma, but control. Set boundaries that are immovable. Refuse to be manipulated into silence, shame, or submission. You are not here to orbit someone else's ego. You are here to become whole. That path begins when you stop dimming your light to soothe someone else's shadow. 5. The unconscious enabler. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Not all danger announces itself. Some come disguised as love, as loyalty, as tradition. The unconscious enabler may be soft-spoken, familiar. They may even say they want what's best for you. But beneath their kindness lies a deep allegiance to ignorance. They are not malicious, but they are dangerous, because they refuse to see. They excuse what should be confronted. They minimize what should be questioned. They protect the pattern, even if the pattern is poison. You'll hear them say things like, "That's just how your father is. Don't rock the boat. Let it go, it's in the past. You're being dramatic." But what they're really saying is, "I'm too afraid to face the truth, so I need you to stay asleep with me." Jungian psychology teaches us that the unconscious is not just personal, it is collective. And the unconscious enabler is often the keeper of this collective shadow. They hold onto inherited beliefs, outdated norms, and toxic loyalties not because they're wise, but because it's all they know. They mistake survival patterns for wisdom. They confuse silence for peace. And in doing so, they pass the trauma forward. You'll find them in homes where no one speaks the truth, where pain is swallowed, where normal is built on denial. They are the parent who stays with the abuser, the friend who urges you to forgive before you've even processed the wound, the elder who defends the family secret, because admitting it would dismantle everything. And when you try to grow, to change, to name what no one else will, they resist, not with violence, but with guilt, with shame, with disappointment, because your awakening threatens their illusion. This is how the unconscious keeps itself alive, not through overt control, but through emotional gravity. A pull toward the familiar, a whisper that says, "It's safer not to know." But here's the truth. You cannot heal in a place that worships blindness. You cannot become whole in a system that punishes truth. You cannot awaken if you keep surrounding yourself with people who insist on sleeping. So what do? You break the pattern. You become what Jung called individuated, a person who dares to step beyond the collective trance. You start asking the questions no one else will. You face the truth, even when it shatters the story you were raised with. And maybe, just maybe, your courage becomes a lighthouse, not for the ones who want to stay asleep, but for those who are quietly searching for a way out. Carl Jung never promised comfort. He promised the truth. He taught us that to protect our mental health, we must walk the path of individuation, the process of becoming whole. That means facing our own shadows and recognizing when others refuse to face theirs. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to wake up, but you can save yourself. So remember these 5 types. The Shadow Projector, who makes you carry their darkness, the persona obsessed, who replaces truth with image, the energy vampire, who drains your emotional life, the Manipulative Narcissist, who makes you orbit their ego, the unconscious enabler, who resists awakening. Each of them is a lesson. Each of them reveals something in you, what you fear, what you tolerate, what you must reclaim. In the end, the greatest act of love is to live in truth. Start there. The rest will follow. If this video helped you see something differently, consider subscribing. We explore the deepest layers of Jungian psychology, the shadow, and the path to inner freedom. Until next time, stay conscious.